So this morning, I would like to share some ideas about pursuing marriage in a fruitful way. I think we practice marriage a lot, but sometimes we get too caught up with it, and we get doing marriage only, okay, without looking for the long-term goal in our practice. So today, I'm going to basically share how marriage is actually part of the whole path, the Buddhist path, and part of our life. Some people say we don't need marriage, we just go straight to the practice. But marriage involves the cultivation of good virtues, all right, and perfecting our morality. So without that foundation, you cannot go higher. Okay. So today I will just go through the whole session like that, and hopefully all of us will gain something from it. So I'm going to share screen. It says host. You may not see my screen, my face. So
all right, brother, we can see your screen.
you can see my screen. Hold on. Okay, can you see my slides?
Yep, we can. All right.
Okay, so basically, this is going to be my screen here. During my presentation, I don't think you can see my face, so never mind. Just look at the screen. Okay. So basically, we're going to talk about pursuing marriage, right? And marriage in a way that is beneficial to you, and also to the whoever is receiving it. It's not just one way, okay? It's both ways. When we say marriage pursued in a fruitful ways, it doesn't mean like you gain something. Sometimes when we look at the idea of marriage, it's like, oh, I'm doing good, okay, to somebody or to some group. After doing the good thing, after doing the meritorious deed, we have a we have a wish that that we will nothing bad will befall us. Okay, so it's like something like I do this good thing and I get something back, and some of these things may not be material in return. Maybe it's some sort of spiritual. Some people say, like for instance, may my bad karma be cleansed away, or may I not have any more future bad lucks and things like that. And once we get into that sort of game, we get caught, because we have an idea that in order to avoid future problems, we do good now, okay, or to clean our past problems, we do good now. Once we have this kind of reward and system ingrained in our mind, then our Dhamma practice is a bit tainted, I would say. Okay. That is why when you go and see some monks, especially those Western monks, they'll say no need practice marriage like the Thai people or the Burmese people. They say go straight into meditation. If you are a beginner, then it's very difficult also. Okay, it's very difficult also, because if I ask you to go straight into meditation, how? You don't even have a basic. You don't even know how to sit down properly. And when you sit down, your mind start to wander, and you have a lot of distraction. But you need a start somewhere. Okay. So doing marriage is actually a very good start, because it helps you to focus on doing something good. When your mind is being focused on doing something good, then you're able to channel your energy, into something positive. And then we start from there. Okay, we start from there. So there are differing views on marriage making. Some views say that the pursuit of marriage is a lowly practice. Okay, and because it says it focuses on getting only and selfing. They call it. That's a new word, selfing. I only think about myself. Why I do good? So that I can clean up my bad karma. Okay, so that I can avoid future bad karma, for instance. So the idea of a reward, while doing good, is ingrained in the mind. So some people say that this kind of marriage is not really the ideal. Okay. So if you go to Thailand, for instance, marriage making, or even Burma, marriage making is a big thing, right? So they do a lot of elaborate activities and what call this, functions, so that their future, they have a good life. Especially if we go to the outskirts, out of Bangkok and into the villages. Marriage making is a big part of Buddhism, right? The whole village participate in marriage making. So when a monk comes, wow, he's treated like a celebrity. And some of these villages, they don't make a lot because most of them are farmers. Okay, so they spend a lot of their money in preparing the shrines, preparing food, and all the rituals, required to participate in the marriage making activity. So it probably take the whole day. Okay, so some of these foreign monks, they say, why they waste all this time like that? Because after doing it, they don't do anything else. They don't really meditate. They don't even know how to chant. Okay, they depend on the monk to chant, for instance. So they just do that only, the marriage making. Okay, hopefully it will carry on to their daily life, so that they are all the bad things that what call this, they won't feel all the bad things again. Another view is that we just pursue higher practices, focusing on letting go, and in particularly of any sense of self. We do this by practicing meditation. Okay, so this is the other extreme, the swing of the pendulum. And we say no need marriage making because it's not necessary. You see, look at Buddha, where he got do marriage making, just sit and meditate only, right? But we cannot equate everybody with Buddha. Somebody need a start. Okay, so what we should think about is that marriage making, we need this activity so that it enables us to establish a wise sense of self. What is this meaning, wise sense of self? Okay. Let me go through this. As I said just now, some don't want to waste time on lowly practices like marriage making. Instead, they want to go straight into the higher levels. Okay. But the Buddha also repeatedly, he warned, okay, that the higher levels cannot be practiced in a stable manner unless they develop a strong foundation. Now, this is very important, this particular line here, okay? Many places in the suttas, the Buddha says, without a strong foundation, your practice is wobbly. Even himself, he says, after gaining enlightenment, he still practice sila. If you are an arahant, you cannot fall back already, isn't it? That's the idea. If you are even a stream winner, there's certain levels that you fall back to, okay? But when you are an arahant or even Buddha, you can never fall back to the lower realms already, because your profession is perfect, okay? Your sila is perfect already. And yet, he says, even I as Buddha, okay, I still maintain the sila. Why? Because it is the foundation. Without sila, the higher practices cannot happen. So if you recall the the Noble Eightfold Path, there are 3 sections, right? Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Correct or not? So the foundation at the base is the sila, the morality. Morality enables you to clean up your act, I would say, okay? Clean up your act so that you are not disturbed, by your worldly life. When you're not disturbed by your worldly life, and therefore you are able to go into the practice samadhi in a more sustainable way. When you have stable samadhi, then only you allow wisdom to arise. Okay, so basically the Noble Eightfold Path emphasizes these 3 things. We need sila in order to enable samadhi to become stable and strong and stable. Okay, and therefore only with these 2 base firm and stable, then the wisdom is allowed to arise. We cannot force wisdom to come out. It's like a leaf growing out from trees, we cannot force it to come out. It comes out, it comes out. But the condition must be right. The rain must be there, the sun must be there, the earth must be fertilized, okay? Soil must be good. When the conditions are right, wisdom will arise. But if you do not establish the foundation correctly, then somebody won't be there. And therefore, the chances of wisdom arising is a touch and go. It can happen, it cannot happen. Most likely not happening, okay? So, there is the Buddha actually says, pursuing merit provide the foundation for sila to happen, okay? Many cases, he emphasized so much on dana, the Buddha. Why dana? Why dana first, He never say, oh, meditate, okay? Most of the time, he says, okay, let's do dana. Practice generosity, okay? Anatta Pindika, he encouraged the Anatta Pindika to continue, okay? The giving, building up Jeta growth, so that more and more monks can go there and practice. And so many cases, he asked, devotees to practice generosity. Because generosity is one of the first and easiest things to do. You give away something, right? You give away something. And then it is something that all of us can do. Even the evil guy, if he wants to do good, he can just give away something, right? If you can do that first, then you start from there. So basically, what the Buddha says here is that we cannot wisely let go of our sense, or one sense, all right, of self, until one has developed a wise sense of self first. So if someone tells you, practice letting go, fine, okay? Letting go of myself without understanding is like, avoiding the whole person, our own person. And that kind of avoidance can create hatred. Because doing that without understanding, you create a hatred for yourself, right? And then you don't want to be associated with yourself. You're saying that, I'm in a morass of suffering, and I don't want to live anymore. And you create misery for everyone around you. So that kind of practice can lead to problems, I would say, right? You cannot let go yourself until you develop a wise sense of yourself. You must understand why you're here. Who am I? Why am I here? Why was I born? You must understand yourself first. Some people are not ready to go beyond your current situation, for instance, all right? Some people say, yeah, I cannot be monk or cannot be nun. Fine. No issue. But you must understand where you are, who you are, what makes you, okay? What makes you, and you relate in relation to others, with others. So it is important to have this wise sense of yourself. This is the first starting point, right? So the pursuit of merit is actually a Buddhist way, one of the first steps in the Buddhist path to develop a wise sense of self. So I will go through some of these steps, how to actually establish this wise sense of self, and build upon it to reach your higher goals. Okay, so merit making, you must have a plan, not just do merit, for the sake of merit. You need a life plan, all right? The next slide will show you how. Okay, so what is the wise sense of self? The first thing is that you need basic wisdom. Okay, to attain the wisdom of letting go, one must focus on things to hold on to. Interesting, isn't it? In order to practice letting go, you must hold on to something. Okay, what is the holding on to that something? Those are two. One is skillful traits that provide a secure place to stand on, and letting go of character traits that are harmful. Okay, so it's like a raft, right? Crossing the river, right? In order to cross the river, you need a raft, or you need a boat, all right? You need a sampan. Without that sampan, you cannot cross the river. Okay. So in order to let go, in order to cross that river, you need to go onto that boat first. Right? Once you cross it, then you can let it go. But before crossing that river, you have to go onto that boat. You have to get yourself some idea of a foundation. Okay. So this is called basic wisdom. Initially, somebody says, we don't need when we listen to some talks, the monk says, oh, let go. Okay, let go everything. Don't be attached. Yes, if you don't have an idea what attachment is, letting go is very harmful, because all of a sudden you cut off yourself from everybody. You cut off yourself from your material wants. You cut off yourself from your family. You cut off yourself from your community. That's the wrong idea of attachment. Okay, you hide in jungle lah, in some empty condo, and you don't want to be with anyone. You just want to practice only. Once you do that, okay, then people start to question now, what's happening to you? Why sudden change like that? And then if you do not get the right advice, you may veer off to the wrong path, because the mind is not been detached yet. Although you detach yourself from the physical world, your mind, your ideas, your desires, your ignorance is still inside you. That is not being detached. Okay, so the important thing is not the physical detachment, but the mind detachment, the mental detachment. So basic wisdom is to establish the reason, why you need to detach yourself. You must have a reason, a reason that allows you to practice in a sustainable way. Okay, so basic wisdom, aka common sense. Okay, common sense. You need to establish what is required first. Okay, the skillful traits that allow you to stand in a stable way in the spiritual life, right? So what are the skillful things? Like for instance, you can say 5 foundation of mindfulness. Okay, mindfulness, concentration, effort, wisdom, and faith. Okay, the 5 powers, I would say these are the skillful traits you need to have. So you have to establish that first. Then you may need guidance. You may need a teacher to help you establish that foundation of mindfulness. Then there's, at the same time, you let go, character traits that are harmful. So what is your negative characteristics that you need to let go? Are you are your desires very strong? Desires in terms of material one, for instance. Okay, sexual desire, for instance, greed, and hatred, for instance. What are the elements that stop you from enabling your spiritual life to bloom? You have to let go those. If you do not take time to look at yourself in this basic wisdom level, then when you go into deep practice, all these things will still follow you. Okay, in fact, it'll be very hard to disentangle. So you must know yourself why you want to go into this spiritual life. Okay, so a wise sense of self requires us to do a scan of ourselves, our long-term goal. What do we want in this life? Okay, and how do we attain it? Right. So the first step is to do good. Okay, do good. And one of the easiest way to do good is to practice generosity. Generosity will help someone and also help yourself. This by itself is a merit, right? So we need this basic wisdom. This basic wisdom is where you start. You do a scan of yourself, and then you participate in an activity that allows you the first step on this path. Okay, basic wisdom. Now it's a good thing to look back in the Noble Eightfold Path, right? Some people say, you know, the first of the Noble Eightfold Path is what? Right understanding, right? The second one is what? Right thought. After that, you can right speech, right action, right livelihood. Then you have a right effort, right concentration, and right mindfulness. Correct or not? So this is your Eightfold Path. But if you break down your Eightfold Path, you have the first two is actually understanding and thought, is actually wisdom, no? Correct or not? The second portion, right speech, right action, right livelihood is what? Sila, correct? And the third one, right effort, right concentration, right mindfulness is what? Is called the samadhi part. So the Noble Eightfold Path is broken into three. Wisdom, punya, panya, sila, samadhi. But when you say, just now as I mentioned early in my sharing, we say that we have to have the foundation of sila first, right? Once your foundation of sila is established, then samadhi will be stable. Once your samadhi is stable, then your panya will arise, wisdom will arise, correct or not? And yet, how come in the Noble Eightfold Path, right understanding and right thought comes first and second? Why? If you look at the Noble Eightfold Path as the path of practice, basically, that's what the Buddha say. Initially, you must have the thought, why am I here? What am I doing here? Okay, what is my goal in life? What's the purpose of my life? What is my relation between myself and other people? This basic questioning is called basic wisdom. And therefore, in the Noble Eightfold Path, right, that first 2 points, right understanding and right thought is so important. Because without that basic wisdom, you cannot say, okay, I have decided, I think this life as I'm living is not healthy. I have to let it go. I have to find another way. And therefore, you embark on sila. You get what I mean? So without that basic wisdom, it will not push you to change your life to practice the sila. Without the sila, you will not have stable samadhi. Okay? Of course, it's a cycle. The Noble Eightfold Path is a cycle itself. Once you establish your samadhi, therefore higher wisdom arise. Then right understanding, right thought comes back again. You get what I mean? So basic wisdom is so important, right? We don't look at people whether they are rich or poor, whether they are tauke, a CEO of some JLC, or a hawker guy, owner of a store of a hawker guy. We don't look at them that way. What do they do and how much they earn? We look at what is their basic wisdom. When we talk to them, then you can find out a lot of things. Basic wisdom does not require you to have full wisdom. We don't need to talk about deep dharma. We don't need to talk about what call this very high level of meditation achievement. No need. Basic wisdom is you're able to see yourself, who you are, and how you want to move on from here on. Okay, you have a goal inside. You know you have problem. You know you have your good thought, your good points as well. So how do you want to start? By strengthening your good points and then letting go of your bad ones. Okay, so this basic wisdom, I call it common sense. Okay, is where you should begin your life with, right? So basic wisdom requires you to have a first start, and the first start is to develop what call this a heart for generosity. Okay. The second one is once you understand where you are, who you are, what you want to do, and then only you practice the 3 types of meritorious activities. Right? In the suttas, the 3 types of meritorious activities is actually 3 things only: dana, sila, bhavana. Okay, giving, virtue, and meditation. Right? I will not elaborate too much on it. I think some you probably heard somewhere in other talks that this is actually the 3 things that we need. These are the 3 meritorious deeds, meritorious actions that enable you to walk on the Buddhist path. Okay, again, the first one is giving. Okay, giving in the right way, not giving selfishly, okay? Giving in the right way, giving to enable your heart to grow, for instance, right? giving so that you can alleviate suffering of another person. That is an activity that will enable you to easily see some result. Okay, so you give. Even you don't have, also you give. Okay, and you give and you see the people change. For instance, when you help people, life change. Life can change, or you don't know. Sometimes you say, oh, I only give 50 ringgit, but what's the problem? You must understand, sometimes these guys or this person that you're helping, he may have a lot of money, but at that moment, he's on the verge of being bankrupt. On the verge, okay? He just need something to enable him to hold on, right? So that he don't fall. So sometimes that 50 ringgit enable him to, say, example, top up his phone card. So imagine that time he don't have money to even top up his phone card, right? You give him 50 ringgit and then he go and top up his phone card and he made one phone call. And that phone call saved his life. So you don't know how your activity, how your giving activity help another person. It's not the amount, okay? It's also the timing. And it is important to understand, that karma works in very strange ways. So you keep on giving, you don't know how you actually impact other people. Some people do it very automatically, like a robot, just give and give and give and give, without really, appreciate the act itself. But giving, later on the next slide I will share, there is a phase and there is a method itself. Okay, so you also need to be aware of that. So giving will help you to build your sila, right? And your sila will help you to enable you to practice your meditation in a more stable way. Okay, so this meritorious deed enables you to find your spiritual goal, because by starting by giving, you're able to calm your mind, and through the calming of mind, the happiness that arises, it motivates you to establish a more virtuous one. Okay, through a virtuous actions, then your mind become even more calm, and therefore with a stronger practice, with that wisdom that arises naturally can occur more and more, right? And ultimately, when you say that when I do meritorious deeds, I think it is not wise to say that, even if I don't, attain perfect wisdom this life, hopefully I can be reborn in a better life, right? The Buddha's teaching is actually very terrestrial, right? Even though he talks about rebirth and things like that, actually he's very terrestrial. Even in his dying moment, what did he say? He said, strive on with diligence. He never said, oh, practice to go to heaven. Never, right? He said, strive on with diligence. He never said, be Buddha, be anything. No, he never said like that. Or be Arahant. He never mentioned any goal. He just said, strive on with diligence. Just keep on to your practice. The goal will come. Whether it's a Sotapan or Arahant, okay, or Buddhahood, whatever, the goal will come. Because the goal of the practice itself is your reward, right? It's not the attainment. Attainment, what level, it will come. Okay. The most important thing is the practice itself. Okay. So when you do merit, you do not aim to attain arahantship in the sense, okay. You do merit to go beyond the happiness that you aim to get. Like for instance, I do some merit to giving, I do dana to somebody else. Okay, I'm happy. If you stop at that, that is fine. Okay, that happiness allows you a calm sense of self. That calm sense of self helps you to practice your virtues. When you practice virtue in a more systematic way, right, in a more diligent way, then somebody will arise. Okay, you are able to practice somebody even better. Then the wisdom will come. Okay, in terms of natural bloom. When you go through this process, right, and should your karma ripen, okay, should your karma ripen, and then you attain the happiness, you attain arahantship. Okay, that is your goal. Fine. Okay. So when you do merit, you do not aim for a goal. You do merit for the sake of the merit itself, and then attain that natural happiness that arises from that act of doing generosity. Use that happiness as a motivation to strengthen your virtues. Okay. From there, you move on the path. Don't aim for a goal. Oh, I know. I hopefully, may I attain arahat or may I attain sotapan. No need to talk like that. Okay. Just do merit for the good for the sake of the happiness that you gain at the point of acting itself. And then after that, then you use that to build on your practice. Okay. So basically, this is what is called the wise sense of self. Number one is that you must scan yourself, who you are, what you are, what is your goal, what's your long-term plan for yourself, what do you really want. Okay. And then after that, you go and learn about it, what is the meritorious deeds, and then you practice this kind of things. And then you practice for the sake of practice, right? No need to aim for something, because the problem with aiming for something is what happens if you do not get it. Will you get disappointed or not? Okay, so this is not a capitalist goal. Spiritual practice is not a capitalist goal that you can measure and you can attain. It is something, it's a journey that you just embark upon yourself, so that at any moment you become a better person. Okay, there's only one end. The end is your departure in this life all right. While waiting for that to come, you want to improve your existence. Okay, so therefore you practice to improve this existence, so that whoever that you come to meet with, gains from you. You are not a menace to society. Okay, you are actually helping society to become better, and you make yourself happy. So I think this by itself is a good goal enough, right? You do not set a goal. At the same time, while practicing all these things, your goal becomes a reality step by step. It's very strange, you don't set a goal, but your goal becomes a reality. But you have to do it, constantly do it. Like the Buddha said, strive on with diligence. Don't let go. Okay? That's what it means. So the wise sense of self is basically these three things here. Okay, so just now I talked about basic wisdom, isn't it? Right. Now, what is this basic wisdom? The basic wisdom focuses on the characteristic of the three evil rules. Okay. Dukkha, anicca, and anatta. Okay. Anicca, inconstancy. There's an interesting translation for dukkha. Instead of saying suffering, we call it stress. All right. And anatta, non-self. So when we focus on these characteristics, then we acknowledge that we acknowledge that I'm Lim Kooi Fong here. Okay, I'm a male. I'm born in this country. All right, it's not a perfect country, but I live here. Right. So while acknowledging all that, I also see all things can change. Right. So with that sort of idea, then you are not beholden to any fixed views of life. Once you have a fixed views of life, then if anything change to that is not consistent with that fixed view that you hold, then you create a lot of unhappiness for yourself. Okay. So once you have this idea that everything change, okay, and change brings stress, okay, because you're not used to it, right? But when you experience that stress, for instance, am I actually feeling it? or my friends are feeling it, my family is feeling it. And because they feel it, they put the stress on me also. Okay. So you ask these questions. Once you get used to this sort of questioning, right, and you adjust your life accordingly to these three characteristics, then I believe you'll be able to handle life uh, in a more matured way, I would say, right? Not so reactive. I would say that you anticipate that because your foundation of your mind in looking at life is based on these three characteristics. Whatever change that comes, you already know. Okay, this has happened. The consequences is this. You are already prepared for it. But sometimes when the reality hits us, then sometimes we say, so stressful, so suffering. Only you start to question, how to get out of it, But by and large, if we live in a society that has a very little large disruptions, okay, like this country, we have a lot of small disruptions, but not large disruptions, right? So we just somehow rather, say, okay, just take it and then move on. But with that understanding, you're able to adjust. And then you do not contribute to the stress of your family and of your society, okay? Because you're able to absorb all these happenings and then you react accordingly without harming, okay? So one of the important things is that you need to focus on looking at the three characteristics of life. How to apply this wisdom, okay? How to apply this wisdom. Once you understand life based on the three characteristics, you apply your wisdom on four things, basically, all right? Pursue a relatively constant and pleasant mindfulness-based lifestyle, okay? To do that, it requires a mature sense of self. So when you establish a mindful lifestyle, for instance, you understand, who the people is you are with. You can start off with your family first, right? Everybody is different. Your son is different, your wife is different, okay? And sometimes you say that, lepers cannot change his spots, correct? So if your wife or your husband behaves like that, from the start, you know the person is like that, okay? Sometimes it's not worth your time trying to change that person. Not easy, correct or not? You can slowly mold that person to become who you think which you think can be more productive or more or less harmful. For instance, maybe he got some negative traits that you find that is not very healthy, for the family. So you can slowly, encourage him or her to change over time. But if that person at the end still find it very difficult to change, example, some people got bad temper one, cannot change one, correct or not? Suddenly they explode, for no reason explode. But after a while, very fast it cools down, right? But this kind of thing that initially you may find it very difficult to accept. But after a while, living with the person for so long, then you say, let it be, it will cool down very fast. If you try to change the person, say, hey, don't get angry. It's not possible because that is the person with anger. How to change the kind of person, right? You can encourage him to listen to talks or maybe bring to temple, and then slowly, he or she changes herself or himself. You cannot change another person. They must change themselves. All right. So this constant and pleasant mindfulness is something that you really have to establish head on, when you want to live a spiritual life. Because life is not just about yourself, it's about your environment also. Okay, it's about the society around you. So you must be able to view them as something that arises and goes away. So therefore, understanding the characteristic of the three evil roots: inconstancy, stress, and non-self, dukkha, anicca, anatta, is so important. Mindfulness can only be applied in this condition. Okay, mindfulness cannot be applied in the fixed condition, because the moment the condition is changes and the mindfulness cannot accept, there's no more mindfulness already. It's only basically disturbance. So mindfulness can only apply when conditions are ever changing. right? You are like walking on a tightrope, correct or not? From point A to point B, one string across, and you're walking on the tightrope. You walk from A to B, and if your mind is not mindful, you'll fall. And while you're walking, there's so many things, that you have to consider. Number one, you must not have disturbing thoughts. Number two, you must know, oh, the wind, is it strong, blowing from left to right or right to left? Okay. And then your balance must be correct. Because the moment it starts wobbling and the wind come and the disturbing thoughts come, sure you'll fall. All right. So mindfulness is only useful when things are flexible, when conditions are not certain. Then you use that mindfulness to try to steady yourself. All right. And mindfulness is helpful. It helps you to be more watchful. Okay. Be more watchful. Right. So when you are able to develop this in a constant manner, then your life is very steady because you are able to anticipate the probable future problems that will come. Why some people got no problem? Because they already anticipate, this person, okay, gonna talk like this. So you already anticipate. When it happens, you won't get angry because you know it's gonna happen, right? And once you start to anticipate things, then like for instance, you allocate enough money or you budget correctly so that when the thing comes, you have enough money to pay for it, all right? You plan everything in a way that that will happen, okay? You anticipate the happening. Once you are able to do that, then you're able to meet all your commitment. When you keep on doing that, then your life is stable, correct or not? Some people are fighting all the time. This thing happened, I'm going to fire, pour water to the fire. This one happened, then go and fight the fire. It's kind of life is very, very stressful. So if you know fire coming out already, so in order to ensure that the fire do not occur, you already have done something. Okay, so mindfulness, once applied like this, can solve so many problems because you anticipate before things happen. You already prevent the problem from arising. Okay, the second point is that you are able to sacrifice short-term happiness for long-term happiness. But what is it mean by short-term happiness? Some people say let's go and enjoy life. Life is short. Enjoy lah. All right. But I can go to pub, 2-3 nights a day, right? And drink till drunk, come back. 2-3 nights a day. When you drink, it's 1 hour. Okay. Getting drunk, getting sober, it takes a few hours. We're talking about almost half a day, one quarter of a day gone, from going to the pub, drinking, and then getting sober. And then, next day wake up. If you don't have hangover, you still, have to recover somehow. So that hours that you're gone, that you used to, indulge in all these so-called activities, if you do it a few times in a week, how many hours gone already, right? So that hours, imagine you put it to, say, cultivate your mindfulness, cultivate your samadhi, it adds up to your storehouse of wisdom, your storehouse of patience, right? If you let go the numbers of hours, to build your storehouse of patience, then your wisdom will be postponed, correct or not? So sometimes it is necessary to basically sacrifice that short-term happiness for long-term one, to gain a long-term one. Okay. And then another practice is that consider the needs of others. This is one act of giving. Okay. When you want to always think of other people, number one, it actually helps, in your selflessness, to build up your idea of selflessness. Okay. Don't keep on thinking about yourself, because I think long-term wise, it is actually very, very damaging. I know some people, all right, elderly people, and they come to a stage of dementia, right? And when you're in a stage of dementia, what happens? Okay, you lose control of your mind, correct or not? All right. But one thing I noticed is that things that happen early on in their lives, those things still get stuck in that dementia mind. All right. I don't know whether you've gone through this before. They can remember old things, they cannot remember the things that is happening, recently happened one. They remember the old things. But if the life when they were younger happened to be a torturous one, okay, happened to be a very unhappy one, all the things will be manifested in the current situation. And that's why some dementia people have very, very nasty behavior, simply because there's so much hatred inside them, so much anger, suppressed in their subconscious. When they are in a dementia situation, they cannot control the mind. What comes out is all these negative things. Okay, they start to the mind somehow rather become in that negative mode, right? And they're out of control because their mind, they're in a dementia mode, and they're out of control. And so they give a lot of problem to the carer or the family that's taking care of them. Okay, so it is so important when we are young, okay, when we have control of our mind, to make sure that our mental situation is not consumed by hatred. Okay, this is so important because you don't know what will happen in future. So I've seen people with dementia mind, so much hatred, so much anger, simply because if you look back at their history, you find that, oh my goodness, I cannot blame this person for behaving like this right now. Because if you understand that person then, long time ago, then he has been harboring all these negative things in his life. Now it manifests in a situation that he cannot even control. It is a very sad situation. Okay. But of course it will harm the people that's taking care of him. Right? That's why taking care of dementia people requires a lot of patience. The last one in accepting basic wisdom is that we need develop a strong sense of self-reliance. Okay, when we have a self-reliance, we pursue happiness that is wise, pure, and compassionate. Easier said than done. Okay, but we try our best to do this. Okay, let's move on. Now the second part of the pursuit of merit is, I said, first you must have your basic wisdom, isn't it? Common sense, right? Once you know where you are and what you are, and then you are able to set a goal, for instance, to walk on the path. And what is the path that you should walk on? Three things only: dana, sila, bhavana. Generosity, morality, and meditation. Okay. So when you practice dana, you practice generosity. Okay. You can maximize it by choosing the proper motivation. What is your motivation of giving a gift? Okay. And you must also give a proper gift and a proper recipient to that gift. Not just simply giving. You give a greedy person forever, I tell you, we're going to satisfy his or her needs. Greedy people don't give because you're only feeding the greed. Okay. You give those who are worthy of giving, right? Like for instance, you make political donation. Politicians lie and bluff and whatever, and then someone you give. After you give already, then the guy never keep the promise. And is this a worthy gift or not? So, and then after that, he go to parliament and pass stupid laws, and then we all get into a situation, right? Or you give to people who actually do really good things. Okay, so check out their background. Go and ask around what they do, and then once you understand and really want to feel that this cause is worthy of support, and you give. Okay, so the motivation is very important. Sometimes you say, oh, I don't have enough money. Never mind. I think this person need it more than me right now. Example. Okay. Many times I don't have money myself, but when the moment that arises, do I need this money right now? Do I need to spend it? I say, no, only, okay, give that person. Because that person need it right now. Okay. Because my money can come another time. But at this point, no need. I don't need the money. And then you give. Okay. So it's not about the amount. It's about timing. It's about your motivation. Okay. And the thought that arises in your mind while giving, that is the most important thing. Because the moment you give her, you let it go already. And suddenly, just now example, I give to my friend, I give the money. The moment I give, suddenly a need arises. Then sometimes I say, why I go and give away? Now I need the money, then how? I need to start dig here and there. So you can get into trouble also by helping people. But we don't think too far. At that moment, when you want to give, you do not need the money and you give away. That is good enough. Because that moment is pure, is real. You know, but at that moment, you don't need it. What happens after that is out of your control, isn't it? You don't know. Suddenly it happens. Then maybe just now, as I said earlier, if that's the case, then you must anticipate. But how do you know? You must keep some money for emergency. How you know suddenly you give away already? Then you need some money to pay for something else. Therefore, you must anticipate, right? And so therefore, when you have this mindfulness and awareness kind of mode inbuilt in you, then you already anticipate all these things that will happen, okay? And then you act accordingly. But motivation is very important, especially in practicing of generosity. So important, because the moment you give, is gone, okay? But the happiness that arises after the giving, the no regret kind of thinking, no regret, happiness, contentment, that kind of condition is so important to observe. When you can do that a lot of times, all the times, then I would say your practice of generosity is very good. Okay, because it builds that habit, that habit of easily contented, easily giving, easily, happiness arise. There's no regret at all, no regret, no hatred, no anger, nothing, just happiness, give. That kind of thing is ever overflowing, and then once you can do that, their personality becomes bright and happy. Okay. Once you do that, you establish you are able to practice sila. Okay. Now, one friend of mine who's a journalist, he says, why you will need to practice sila or not? The sila is like a shadow, that follows you everywhere. One. Okay. Some people never practice sila. They're scared of their own shadow because you don't know who's behind you. Correct or not? Sometimes the thing that is behind you is just your shadow only. There's nobody else behind you. Why you say that the shadow scares you? Because you have done something. You done something you don't want anyone to know. So sometimes you are even afraid of your own shadow because you think that shadow is somebody following you. Okay. So if your sila is good, you practice your virtues properly, you do not have this sort of mindset, that keeps you looking behind. Who is this? Is there anyone following me? You don't have to do that. Because negative activities, especially the 5 precepts, you break any of the 5 precepts, you always worry whether someone will come back after you or not. Correct or not? If you keep the 5 precepts, chances are nobody will come after you. But if you break the 5 precepts, people will come after you. Now, in times of handphone with the camera and all, so easy to take a photo, isn't it? So you just do something bad and somebody happens to be there and take a picture. Wow, finish lah. Immediately it goes viral, right? So we keep to the sila so that number one is our mind is always forward looking. No need to look backwards and see who's following me, who's behind me. We don't have that kind of fear or anticipation of discomfort. And also when we do sila properly, we also need to learn how to kind of understand our previous mistakes, not to hold on to it too much, okay? And then feeling guilty. Now that's another talk talking about karma okay? We don't have to feel guilty actually. Sometimes we say that we do bad thing and then keep on dwelling on it. It's gone already, passed, right? No need to feel guilty. Just accept that you've done it and move on, and then we do not repeat such a thing again. So morality allows you to look forward without fear, without trepidation. Okay. At the same time, gives you some sort of a wisdom, do not dwell on whatever happened in the past, already past, gone, okay? Just no need to feel guilty because of something that you've done. The karma may or may have already ripened so that you will go through some round of suffering. But even you have not, suffered the karma yet, you don't have to anticipate for it. Oh, waiting for the karma to happen. One thing you can do if you're in that situation, you can go and find a monk or nun, and make a confession to say that I have done something bad in my life, okay? I want to talk it out. So you don't have someone close who you can trust. You can talk to some monk or nun, and then just let it go, talk it out, okay? Talking it out is actually very important. Just talk it out and let it out, and let someone hear. And then, if the person cannot give the right advice, at least you can just let go of your system, okay? So sila is a good practice that allows you to build your foundation, your virtuous foundation, so that in preparation for the next step, which is bhavana. Okay, so I wouldn't dwell too much on this bhavana. It's basically what call this mind training, right? When we say meditation, yes, sometimes we just sit down, meditate, whether it's vipassana or anapanasati. But more importantly, we need to train the mind to let go. During these periods of meditation, okay, in the periods of calmness, one of the best things to observe is the characteristics of life, as I mentioned just now in the basic wisdom. Use rising and falling as an observation tool to investigate characteristics of life. Believe me, if you try that, your ability, to allow wisdom to bloom will manifest in a more effective way. Okay, but this can only happen when your mind is in very good calm situation, maybe in a very high level jhana stage. Okay, when you're in a jhana stage, for instance, and then you use that calm mind to investigate rising and falling, apply the three characteristics of life, and you see your vision of your vision and your interpretation of your life will change. Okay, and then that is called wisdom, because you're able to see in a different way already, not in a conventional way, in a way that you personally experience. So mind training must lead towards this part. Okay, so as you can see, dana actually leads to a very, very high stage of personal development. So do not underestimate the practice of dana. The pursuit of merit must involve these three steps. Okay, involve these three steps. And the fruit itself is some sort of attainment. Okay, what kind of attainment, I don't know. It's up to your personal what call this your personal situation. Okay, so basically that's about it dana sila bhavana. So what's the ultimate goal of merit making? Basically is that we must go beyond obtaining merit. We do good, we get happiness. Then we say, oh, may the merit gain, may I share with all beings. We should not stop. We should not just stop there and then don't go further. Okay. We should use that mind, the happiness, to build our sila. And then from sila, we build our meditation. Only through this path, then we can lead to some sort of our own attain our own salvation. Okay. In the Dhamma-inspired 39, right? The Buddha says, for a person of unsodden mind, unassaulted awareness, abandoning merit and evil, wakeful, there is no danger of fear. Okay. So the mind that is not defiled, right? The awareness is crystal clear. Mindfulness is firm, right? You abandon merit and evil. You see, when you have merit, merit means a good thing, isn't it? Opposite of merit is evil. You abandon both. Okay? then you become wakeful. Now, once you have done all these things here, there is no danger of fear. The Buddha says, right, practice can be compromised by fear. Fear is a very, very powerful tool to kind of like disturb your practice. Okay, and fear can only arise when your mind is not stable, when your mind has doubts. Okay, once you have a full commitment to the Buddha Dhamma, you approach life without fear. Okay, there's another. The Buddha is also called the fearless one. All right, fearless one. He has no fear at all, not scared of anything on, because he is so sure that whatever he has attained, he can meet it on. Okay, so when we practice merit, it is a good thing. At the end of it, we have to let it go also. Okay, because merit and evil are coexisting as a whole, two sides to the same coin, right? So once you let it go, it becomes wakeful, and that is the ultimate goal of your fruits, the fruits of merit making. That's the ultimate goal, to let it go. So it's like initially I talked about the crossing the river, isn't it? So once you cross the other river, just let go of the raft or the sampan. You're the other side already. You don't need the sampan or the boat anymore. Okay, but while you're crossing the river of samsara, you have no choice. You have to use the boat. So while in this life, you have to use merit making as a starting point to build up your sila, so that you can have a stronger bhavana, and only after the bhavana is established, you can just let it go. Okay, and therefore you don't need merit anymore. I hope you understand. Some of you are quite deep. So that's the end of my Dhamma sharing. If you have any question, I'll be happy to answer.
Perhaps you could stop the slide share so we can see your face while we do this session. To all the participants, if you have any questions, just drop it in the chat box below. I'll get the ball rolling. We have two questions from our side. The first one is, you mentioned of basic wisdom in the talk just now. Can we understand it as right views as per the Noble Eightfold Path?
Yes, right views, but right views means right understanding, right? Not
Yeah.
right understanding. So right understanding is very important. Because if we do not have that beginning, right, some sort of understanding, you won't even come to the temple and listen to talks. Okay, because sometimes you find that you're missing something, right? Then you say, what to do? Maybe this will help. So that thought arises, this will help. But you also understand now, why go to temple instead of go to what call this,
Bar.
for instance,
Yeah.
bar. Why temple? Why not go bar? Bar also drink 1 hour, you get emptiness. Correct, not your mind is empty. Okay, but the emptiness is temporarily, because the moment that you come back sober, the problem come back again.
Yep.
So you want a longer term solution. So maybe temple is one solution. So that understanding is very important. Okay, if you do not have the basic wisdom, all the time you go to the bar, right? Go to bar, go to massage parlor, whatever. Yes, you can relieve you at that moment, but after that, it will come back all over again. Worse, you waste money. Temple don't have to waste so much money. Okay, right?
Thank you, brother. The next question we have here is, can you please further elaborate why practicing dana gradually can let go of the self, right? Why, how does that help?
Okay, as I mentioned just now, you keep on giving and keep on giving, you must have the motivation. All right, I give an example just now. I don't have money. I don't have much money, okay? But whatever I have at that moment, someone says, hey, I need help. Can you help me? Then I look at my bank account. That's all I have. But that motivation suddenly arises. At this point, I do not need the money. That person needs the money. Then you give away. Yes, after that, I don't have money anymore, but I don't need it. I don't need it. But that person did something with it, okay? And then maybe it's so important, it actually solved his problem or her problem. But for me, some people say, I don't have. Why should I give? I give already. I got nothing, in my account. Okay? So you look at it two ways. Number one is, I'm losing something. I don't know when I'm going to get back something. Then you look at the empty account and then you feel regret. But if you can practice in a way that at this point, I don't need the money. I give away out of happiness. I give away and I'm happy and I don't feel regret. All right? Yes, my account don't have anything. But that person solved a lot of his or her problem. So if you reflect that way, then you say, okay lah, I'm happy that person got no problem anymore. I'm happy I don't have money, but I don't need the money now. You see? So once you have this kind of motivation, you keep on doing it again and again and again. You don't feel burdened. You don't feel burdened of giving anymore. Right? You give when people need or something needs that help. You give. You don't think about, can I give or not? Do I have enough or not? No more. You give because you can. When you are able to do that again and again and again, I tell you, your being is very light one. You don't need a lot of things on. But you'll be surprised. Because you help people like that, one day you need help, they'll come and help you. Very strange one, So do not underestimate your act of generosity because you don't know when you will need help. But when you don't need any help and you can give, you just give. Okay? So life is like that. You help people, people will help you back. Okay, so don't have concerns about thinking of yourself first before giving. No need to think about that. At the moment you can help, you help. Okay?
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
I think Sister Lynette has a follow-up question to the first question we asked. Right views and understanding. All right, about right views and understanding. How does one know that one's view and understanding is correct?
How do one know? I got a formula lah. I got a formula. All right. A formula is number one, you test it yourself. Let's say you got a view of certain situation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
A certain situation lah. For instance, you want to help a friend who is an immoral character, for example, right? And then you say, if I help this person, then maybe I can get into trouble. Okay. But if I help this person, I can get him or help him or her get out of a problem. Of that problem that he or she is facing at this point, at that point. But if they say the problem is solved by him or her, when his problem is solved already, he go back to his old self and then do some more worse things. You get what I mean? And then you say, ayo, it's like you're helping a murderer lah, get out of debt, right? After the debt is settled, he go and kill somebody. So do you want to help or not? This kind of thing, you see? Your understanding of situation, you must also look at the consequences. That is for, you must have certain foresight lah. Consequences of your actions, All right? So sometimes you bring your mind, you calm your mind down, and then when, let's say someone needs your help, or someone asks you for certain advice, you must be really, be you must circumspect. That means you must be very mindful. Who is this person? In what context this person is coming, you asking for advice or help? All right? You must probe, you must question, and then find out in a way that sometimes when you're mindful enough, you can sense, this person is not telling the truth, not telling the whole truth. There's something hiding there. Okay. And then sometimes the person say, I cannot tell you everything, but you have to trust me. Now that's where your gut feeling comes in. Do you want to trust this person or not? Okay. Because sometimes we don't have all the information in our hands, to make a good decision, right? But if we give help or give advice in a half-hearted way, honestly, it may lead to future problem. Okay, so basically, you need to see your situation and ask yourself, are you willing to go out of your way to help this person? If you think that your gut feeling tells you you're not comfortable, don't do it. All right, don't do it. I give an example. I used to know a nurse, a carer. All right, very very helpful person, likes to take care of old people. But when this carer came and work for some of my friend, the first thing she asked was advance payment. Instead of paying her end of the month, they asked for advance payment 1 week into the job, 1 week. Then my friend asked, why you want to get advance payment? Because I owe Along some money. Now this is a carer, taking care of my friend's parents, right? And when she come and tell you, I need to pay off Along, how do you feel? Okay, the Along has her number, okay, and the Along can trace, where this number go, through the GPS or whatever. So imagine the Along come to the house and start throwing red paint all over the house, then how? Right or not? But if you don't give, then this person say, ayo, then how? I will get into trouble. And then get into trouble, then she cannot do this job. And then we could have this person, my friend have to go and hire a new nurse. It's not easy to find a good nurse, for to take care of old folks. You see, so in this situation, it's not so straightforward. Do you want to do that or not? Okay. In the end, I heard that my friend pay off the advance, and then after 1 week later, sack her. Sack her. So I think we need to be circumspect. You need to be mindful of your situation. Okay. When you say right understanding or right view means you need to investigate. You cannot just accept. You cannot just accept information at face value. You need to probe, investigate, go deeper. Okay, find out as much information as possible, and that constitute to sharpen your understanding or view of the situation. Okay, don't just be a keyboard warrior and just go and find internet. Sometimes have to make phone call. Search, like that. Okay, that's what I mean. Right view.
Thank you, brother.